All right, guys. Welcome to week 2 of Zuventurez. You guys made it through the first week and back to the second week. That's awesome. Thank you guys for joining us. Now this week is going to be interesting because this week we're actually going to start to get our hands dirty. Okay? Last week was all about inspiration, and that's fun, and that's cool, and that's great, but you don't have a business if you don't start doing stuff, right? And this week we're going to start doing stuff. It's going to be really, really fun. And we're also going to try and help you build your team again. So we're going to do some more networking that should be really good too. So if you don't have your team, don't worry about it. You have till week 4 to form your team. So be working on it consistently, but don't worry too much about it. I am going to pray to get us started, and then we will jump right in. Dear Father, thank you for tonight. Thank you for this group of students and alumni of this specific university who want to change the world and pursue their startups and pursue their dreams in many regards, Lord. And I pray that you would bless them in that, and that you would make their startups fruitful. In Jesus' name, amen. Amen. So I'm going to start out with updates, okay? So how many of you received an email from us this last week? Okay? Good. Quite a few of you. If you didn't receive an email from us, you really need to make sure that you do. So if you didn't receive an email from us, send us an email, zuventurez@apu.edu, because one of our primary methods of communicating to you with the most important information is through email. So if you didn't get one from us, check your junk mail folder and see if it went in junk. You guys all know how to move it out of the junk and make it, like, white label it, right, so that it doesn't go back into the junk. Do that, make sure that happens. We communicate a lot of things via email, including our resource folder. So how many of you actually went in and looked at the resource folder from the email that we sent? Awesome. So there's some of you that did that. Now, what you will find in the resource folder is essential, okay? One, we have a pitch deck template. So you're going to be building your pitch deck. We actually have set you up with a template that walks you through some of the slides that you're going to need when you get up in front of everybody to start pitching when you're competing against the other teams. So that deck is in there. Meaning you don't have to start from scratch. Obviously, it's just a template, but you don't have to start from scratch. It's in there. We also have videos about pitching, how to pitch well, from some key resources. There are some example pitches in there as well. And then here, I'm going to point you at one of the most critical resources that is in that folder. We actually have the judges' criteria, the judging criteria, how the judges will make their decisions in that folder. Meaning, we're giving that to you now. You know what the judges will be monitoring you on, based on that. Okay. I do want to say that I will be incredibly shocked and super impressed if anybody scores a perfect score. So if you're a perfectionist, just be careful with how you set expectations, because we have raised the bar with what our expectations are. Okay. And the only reason we do that is to benefit you guys. We want to prepare you as well as we possibly can prepare you. So don't worry about getting the perfect score. Worry about working your way down that judging criteria. And you're going to start at 0, right? Some of you are going to start at 0. And that's exactly where you should be. So don't freak out about it. You're just going to put in hard work. You're going to follow that judging criteria. And you're going to start pitching, and you're going to do a great job. So that's in the folder. Make sure you check that out. You should have received some NDAs, non-disclosure agreements, and terms and conditions. So those are really important for you to sign. We'll have some time for you to sign tonight, so don't worry about trying to do it while people are presenting. I want to make sure you guys read it. A non-disclosure agreement is basically to benefit you, okay? So what we're all agreeing to, all of us, anybody who's participating with Zuventurez this year, what you're agreeing to is that if someone else has an idea, you have signed a non-disclosure agreement, meaning that you cannot take that idea from them and run with it. Okay? We even the playing field. You can't do that. It's a very standard agreement in the industry, because otherwise people would steal each other's ideas all the time, right? Google would just come by and be like, "That's a great idea. I got it." Who wants to compete against Google, right? Until you're ready, and then you really want to compete against Google. Terms and conditions. There's some information on there that you want to check out. If you have any questions about that stuff, just see one of us. Send us an email. Ask us about it. Happy to answer any questions you have about that. And thank you all for filling out the surveys. So the surveys are really important. We give you the surveys because the surveys are our way of getting feedback directly from you on the speakers and on the program. So just like I mentioned, like we're making the judging criteria super hard this year to benefit you, you can come back at us and say like, I could have received better benefit from that speaker, right? That survey is your methodology for doing that. And what I'm going to do when I read the surveys, because I want to have a really good program, is I'm going to go, oh, okay, we need to up our game in this regard, right? So the surveys are amazing. Please fill them out, and I appreciate it because we got a bunch of them back last week, which was really, really awesome. And by the way, Matt Holguin, he has the highest score on any of that kind of survey that I've ever seen in my life. So thank you guys for showing your appreciation for him. That was fantastic. Last update before we move into some other stuff. We have a new Facebook group page specifically for all of you guys. Okay? So it's a Facebook group. And we did that intentionally because we said, you know what? Yeah, we can do like all of the different aspects of trying to get you networked and things like that, but there's another methodology we can use, and we can use an online tool to be able to do that. And that was the best tool that we could come up with for the time. So if you have any feedback on it, it's great. But if you guys can do me a favor, as I continue talking, pull out your phone or your computer, your laptop, whatever, and go to Facebook, and you're going to want to search for Zuventurez Pitch 2016. So that's the group you're going to join. We will accept you into that group. It's a closed group because, again, you guys are all signing NDAs, and we don't want those ideas to leak out into other places. So go in there, search for that, be a part of the group. We actually have tasks for you to do in that group, so please do that. Week 1 recap, really quick. Key topics, find your why. Matt talked a lot about this. Love God, love others, be obedient, follow Him, find your why, right? Why are you doing what you're doing? Think about it. We redefined failure. And I want to mention that again in light of the judging criteria. It's not failure, it's learning. And you consistently fail. And the faster you fail, the better off you will be because you will learn faster. And that is ideal. Do you guys all like week 1? Was week 1 cool? Yeah. Awesome. This week is going to be really fun. So this week we're calling Do Good, Zoo Better. Today is all about defining the problem you want to solve and then articulating your solution and validating both of those things, right? Because you don't have a company until you have customers, and you have to be on the same wavelength as those customers in the way that you articulate the problem and the way that you solve the problem. And we're going to dive into that in just a minute. How you define the problem is critical, though, and you want customers to come to you to meet that need, right? So, really quick, I want to get into this. So you guys recognize most of the brands up here probably, right? Most of these brands started with a problem. They said, this is a problem that we must solve, right? Vans is a little different. Vans actually came up with an idea first, okay, so for vulcanized rubber, on the bottom of their shoes, and they started producing shoes. So that's what we're going to do. We're starting to start producing shoes. They got lucky because the skate community loved the shoes, because the shoes solved the problem for them, which was they stick better to the skateboard, right? And they have cool designs. And so that's how Vans kind of came about. They didn't actually have a problem. They had a solution that then they found their marketplace for. Some companies start that way. Other companies, I was going to use Instagram as a company that didn't start that way. And I heard a fantastic podcast on Instagram. So does anybody know what problem Instagram solves to be where they are today? Does anybody know what Instagram, like what problem did they solve? So fascinating story. So the guys who started Instagram actually started a check-in app, sort of like your Foursquare app, right? That's what they did. They were 2 founders. They did it on the side. They were starting this app to be a check-in app, just like Foursquare. And so what people said to them was, you know what, the way you do photos is amazing. We really like the way you do photos. So they said, we should be concentrating on a photo app. It's not this check-in app. So they shifted to that. And one of the founders was vacationing with his wife. They're walking along the beach. And she says, I really like the way that you pivoted to the photo app. He's like, oh, that's awesome. Are you going to use it? She says, I don't think so. He's like, why not? You're a great photographer. And she says, well, yeah, but, I mean, your friend, this so-and-so, he's awesome, and he's posting photos, and I don't feel like I'm quite good enough to be able to do that. And he goes, well, he's not any better than you. It's just that he uses filters all the time. He puts all kinds of filters on his photos. Click. I can make anybody in the world a better photographer if we include filters on our photo app. Right? And that right there is what basically has turned Instagram into a $50 billion company. $50 billion, because they're solving that problem, because they turned you all into photographers. How about that? Last company I'll mention up here, they're all great and you should research them. But like, for example, your problem could be like Jack O'Neill's problem is that the water was too cold and he wanted to surf longer. So what did he start doing? He started building wetsuits. And he just kept testing wetsuits until he found one that worked. And then boom, years later. So I'm gonna hand it off in just 1 second here. This is the first part of the judging criteria. Okay? So what you're seeing here is in the folder. Remember, it's in the folder. This is what you're going to start to be judged on. So it's problem definition and the product solution benefits. Okay, and as you can see, you can go look at this anytime on your own time. We're going to move across the chart. If you haven't identified a solution yet, you're at 0. It's no problem. A lot of you haven't identified solutions yet. No big deal. But once you've got a tested solution exists and the benefits are in high demand, that's when you know you're on the right track, right? That's when you know you're on a really a poor idea. So be sure to pay attention to that judging criteria. If you know what that is, you can build your entire pitch deck based on that judging criteria. You'll be one step ahead of your competition. All right. So Ian Blaire is an APU alum, and Robert Cardiff is an APU alum and a Zuventurez fellow. And they are here to talk to you about choosing the problem you want to solve and validating that your solution has potential. So please welcome Ian and Robert. All right, cool. Hello? There you go. Yes. Yeah. Who wants the clicker?
Alright, I'll just start by introducing myself. You guys hear it? I'll just talk like this.
There's another mic
there. There you go. Yeah. I like this one. Yeah.
This one doesn't work. Oh.
That's like you just talk. I mean, yeah. Alright, cool. So let's get started. Validating your ideas. I think it's one of the most important pieces. But before we try to get into that and talk about different steps, we'll just kind of talk a little bit about ourselves, introduce what we've done, what we're doing, and so you get to know us. And then from there, we'll talk about validating your business idea. Hopefully you all have one, or at least I think you have one, right? But with that being said, Ian, do you want to talk a little bit about your experience at APU?
Yeah, so my name is Ian Blaire. I graduated APU December 2013, so a little less than 3 years ago. And I actually started my company while I was here at APU. So I got a little bit of a head start, and then ever since I graduated, just continued to run my company. And we're about 30 employees, and what we do is we have a mobile app building platform that allows anyone to build their own iPhone and Android app. So we'll dive into this really quick. So kind of like a quick screenshot of our platform. Basically, no coding required. Makes it very simple. Like think like Wix or Squarespace, but for mobile apps. We've had over 100,000 people sign up to build apps over the last 2 years. We have 1.7 million people who actually have our apps installed on their devices. And these are just some of the organizations that we've worked with. I'm sure a lot of you guys know, like Coachella, Stagecoach. We've helped build apps for like the staff directories. We work with Ohio State in their nursing program. We even work with Saddleback. So I'm going to talk to you guys a little bit today, like how I got started validating my idea, and then how it actually morphed into do-it-yourself mobile app builder.
Yeah, so I want to start off with a little trick. Who wants $100 here? Yeah, you want it? Well, what would you feel if I took a lighter and I burned it? Would you be okay with that? Not yes. All right, let's go. Ready? Who wants it? Grab it. Nope. So the reason I'm doing this is because why you validate your business idea? Because you don't want to waste your money, right? And my experience is a little different than Ian's. And one of the things that Jay talked about was, you never fail, you learn, and you try to iterate quickly. So my background here at APU is I went to grad school here, got my MBA, which I'll recommend. Super fun being here, changed my life. And while I was in the process, I said I want to start a business. And that business was a company called Zuventurez. And I got to pitch the idea to Zuventurez, and I learned a lot about writing business plans and validating a business idea. And it cost me $50,000 to validate that idea. That's how much that I sunk in, along with some of the money that I won from Zuventurez, to figure out that it wasn't a good fit. And $50,000 seems like a lot of money, but I was on the verge of closing $150, raising family and friends money. 150K. Yeah, 150K. And I could have spent all that, right? So when you think about perspective, that's kind of what you get into is, 50,000. Now, if that was 10,000, 15,000, I probably would have felt a little better. And so you see the differences between he and I's story as we walk through these steps and how he validated it and how I validated it. In two completely different markets. Whip Rides was a kind of Uber for college campuses where you could book a ride with somebody from your university. And as we go through here, you'll kind of see those differences and you'll learn a lot about our experiences and hopefully get better.
Okay, so I'll go back really quick. So the way we got started is we were actually not the first people to build a do-it-yourself mobile app builder. There's a few out there, and a common business model for us is we have a white label reseller program. So people will take our software, brand it as their own. Typically, it's like entrepreneurs, web dev companies looking to sell mobile apps to their customers. So that's exactly what I did. I took one of our current competitors' products, we slapped our logo on it, and started selling apps to churches. Because churches, they're a great vertical to sell mobile apps to. They produce a lot of content, and mobile apps are great. You can set up push notifications. You have your event calendars, locations. I mean, the features, there's a bunch of really cool features in churches where we had good inroads, and we just started acquiring customers. So I think we started at $300 a month. It's a relatively low barrier to entry. We started to acquire customers. Eventually, we probably got to about 100 customers before we decided that we needed to build our own technology and go from there. So we continue to acquire all of our customers just using one of our resellers or through a reseller platform, and then we ended up launching ours and migrating all of our customers over, and then that's when we launched BuildFire. Went out really to the whole world so that anyone can build their own app. So that's kind of just a high level overview of how I got started with this. So I didn't raise $1 million right off the bat to start building this. We had a lot of validation along the way. We've raised over $1 million thus far over the last 3 years, but it's always been in increments, not all at once. It's just we've done it as needed and as we continue to hit success milestones.
So, we're all here, and one of the things that Jay said is, you're going to define your problem and then also talk about your solution. That's a part of this, why validate your business idea, and you can see there's a number of them here. But first off, everybody has a good idea, right? If you sit in your own mind long enough, you get something called founder's fallacy, which you don't really listen to anybody else about your idea because you think it's so good. But what you should be doing is listening to other people, getting feedback, and then as we go through these steps, that's one of them, you'll see that founder's fallacy is very troubled. And I think from my personal experience that I validated my business idea in iterations, but I was very, I would say I had founder's fallacy, thinking that it doesn't matter what else is in the market. I think my idea is so good. And I think I was a good enough salesperson to really sell people on the idea and turn it in a way without really listening to some of the people who were saying, it may not work, may not. And another thing is I wasn't able to pivot. So Instagram pivoted, right? Oh, maybe we should, instead of checking, we should have photos. And then we should have a way to edit those photos. And so all those pivots led them to where they are today. And I probably could have pivoted a little better and maybe had a solution that really met universities' needs. So let's just go through these.
I got a few points real quick. And in my case, we pivoted away from just doing churches because that's only so big of a market. And then going across the broad market, you see some of the logos we've landed. And mobile apps are really applicable across every vertical. We have thousands of people who sign up every month, and we have them indicate what industry they're in, and it's literally spread all the way across the board, which is pretty cool. So in my case, we pivoted to go with a bigger market. And one thing I see a lot is people think of ideas without thinking about solving problems. I hear business ideas all the time, especially when I was at APU. I feel like kind of people knew me as like the business guy, so a lot of people come with like ideas. And even post college, I still get a lot of that. So a lot of people really don't think about solving problems, like they're coming up with ideas. So the first thing you guys want to think about is what problems can we solve. And in my case, early on, it was like we solved the communication problem for churches. And now, in this case, we solve a problem because mobile app development is incredibly expensive. I'm sure a lot of you guys are actually going to have mobile app ideas, but I hate to break it to you, mobile apps are very expensive. If you're looking at developing just a very simple app, using a freelancer, you're probably going to sink at least 10K. 10 to 25K is kind of what you're looking at, like in the freelance range. If you're actually working with an agency, expect to pay like anywhere from 30 to 100K, and like the largest app development companies are doing apps for like 500K to $1 million. I actually know people who run those types of companies, and it's very expensive. So we make mobile apps much simpler. We allow people to get to market quicker and save a whole lot of money in the process.
And then the last thing right for is over this 10-week period, at the end of it, you're going to pitch to investors. Those judges are judges, but they're also potential investors, and then some of them might come on board and mentor you. And so what they're going to want to see is in a 10-week period, you can't start a business and get going and market and do all that stuff before the event. And so what you have to do is somehow you have to prove, whether it's through data or traction or something, that there's people out there that want to buy your product. And so we're going to list some of the steps you can go through to get that validation.
So the first one is, does your idea already exist? I hear this all the time. People are like, oh, I have this great app idea. Like, oh, you mean this? It already exists. Like, I know about all these.
And all you do is get on your phone
and you Google it. It's pretty simple. Like, before you go out and pitch your idea, like, see if it already exists. It's not a problem if it already exists. In my case, we weren't the first to market, although we're now one of the largest. So if it exists and you think you can do a better job, that's differentiating as well. So at least do a little bit of preliminary research and see if it already exists before you start pitching to a bunch of people, because it can be kind of embarrassing.
Yeah, the year that I pitched my business, we were sitting up there, and one of the businesses I was pitching, one of the judges says, that already exists, and he goes, and he didn't even know. And so he was up there, and the guy's like, that already exists. Did you know about it? He didn't know about it. And you can't know about every single company that's out there, but he didn't tell them, or he didn't articulate well enough how he could do it better. And so that's the thing, right? Like, Ian's company already existed in a couple other companies, but, they figured out a way to do it better, and that's what made them profitable and growing. So I'll start with this one, yeah. So one of the tools you can utilize, like right out the gate without spending any money, is do surveys, talk to people, get feedback. So one feedback is, who are your potential customers, right? Define those. You might find that talking to the people that you think are going to be your customers aren't actually your customers because they don't like your product. So you need to figure out who those are. Talk to friends and family, get some brutal, honest feedback. If someone says, hey, your idea is terrible, and another person says your idea is terrible, well, I hate to break it to you, you should probably stop that idea because it doesn't sound good. The other thing is surveys, right? I mean, one of the things I did, because you can't just hop in a car and give people rides without insurance and do things like, have a mobile app for people to book, I did like 2,000 surveys. I went on SurveyMonkey, created an awesome survey, got a little email listserv from the university somehow, and I sent it out to 2,000 people. So I got some initial feedback, and I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, Annie. I'm not saying it's the right way to do it, but I had a lot of data, and it validated me the steps moving forward.
It at least got you to the next spot, but it still turned out that people weren't necessarily willing to pay the ride. So it can be somewhat misleading, although people said that there was, demand for his idea, it didn't necessarily pan out when it came down to dollars and cents. So this is just a portion of it.
But talk about how you got feedback from your customers before you even decided to build that.
Yeah, we actually just, one of my roommates and I, we just went to some of the local churches and just started talking, like, will this solve a problem for them? And it did. And we were able to start just acquiring customers. And luckily for us, we were able to acquire customers with relatively little investment and prove that we could acquire customers, which kind of leads to our next point. But yeah, I mean, really in this stage, you just want to get like outside perspective, and at least you can get like a little bit of decent feedback where you think it could be a valid idea to start pursuing it a little bit more, which kind of leads us to our next step is, can you actually acquire customers? I don't like this meme because every company's customer acquisition strategy is so different. Like Instagram, for B2B, B2C, like Instagram is like a social network, right? Dating apps, like they all have completely different customer acquisition strategies. Ours is like B2B, right? So we have like a hands-on sales team. But also within our company, we have like a fully automated sales process, really, where it relies heavily on marketing. So you want to really find out, like, how can I get customers? How can I get more customers? Is it repeatable? Is it scalable? And is your market big enough? I mean, there's companies that can be supported with very few customers, and really large businesses, and then other businesses require lots of customers. So you definitely want to think about, is there a clear path to success when it comes to acquiring customers?
And there's obviously different ways, right? So for Instagram, they have to get to X number of users, or Facebook, or whatever these companies are, to be able to get to a point to monetize. Like every single business model is going to be different, and when you get in front of the judges, you have to go ahead and again articulate how you're going to make that money and how you're going to eventually acquire customers. In Ian's case, he was able to get customers right off the bat. In my case, what I did is I gave like tons of rides for free, because it's the only way legally that I can do it. It's one step further to validate, hey, people like want to book rides with people that are other students at the university. Like they felt safer doing that, and that was one step closer. But each channel, once you have a number of how many people maybe in a survey that can book with you or buy your product, then you start realizing potential for your customers and then your revenue streams, right? All these things must be considered when you're talking to these investors, because they've done business, probably a few different businesses. I don't know who you have coming this year, but they're going to want to know how you're going to get customers, what your market is, and then how you're going to improve the concept.
So, kind of what you just said, like his, in one way, you can validate your idea to build an MVP, and in his case, he was giving rides away for free. That was his MVP. Mine was reselling other products. But you don't necessarily need to do that. There's a lot of different ways. So, one way is you can build a landing page. So say you were an e-commerce product, right? You can actually build out an entire landing page with your value proposition. You can do mock-ups of your product, and you can actually send paid traffic to that. You can use Google AdWords, you can use Facebook, just some form of paid traffic, and you can see, like, are people clicking on like the buy now button? Are they going to the next step, or are they actually just bouncing? So it's an interesting way to start validating your idea. In my case, white labeling software, so if there's another solution out there that you can kind of test it with, that's one way. Kickstarter and crowdfunding, that's become a really popular way to see if there's demand for your product. There's been a lot of really successful companies that have been funded on Kickstarter have raised millions of dollars. But I recommend, like, if you're actually going to do like a Kickstarter or any crowdfunding, you can't just launch it and just pray and hope it's going to be successful. The most successful ones, you can definitely look into some case studies and podcasts of how they make them so successful, and a lot of times they're actually sending paid traffic to their Kickstarter page so it gets funded and starts building incredible momentum, or they do like pre-launch stuff to get them on that front page. So just crowdfunding in itself has a lot of strategy behind it. Mock-ups are another great way. You could put that on a landing page, but at least try and come to, as close as you can get to like a tangible product that you can demo to people. If you're pitching in front of investors, an MVP gives you data. You're trying to convince them that they have a high degree of confidence in you that you're going to get a return on their investment. So,
yeah, and minimal viable product. So when we build apps for people now, we say like, what's like the core of what you need, right? So like when you have your ideas, like Facebook has a zillion different options now. Well, when they first started, it was like, you like this person, you don't like this person, right? Something like that. Well, that was their minimal viable product. So when you're thinking about your idea and you have this like grand vision, because most of you probably do, then you want to scale that back and say, okay, if I put this onto Etsy, or if I put this on a landing page, or if I do a Kickstarter, like, will people go ahead and buy that? So start thinking about that and be realistic about what you're trying to start with. Because again, that founder style scale plays into that vision that you can't quite get off the ground. So make it manageable.
So read the Lean Startup if you guys want to hear more about building MVP. It's part of like one of the popular books ever for business. So check that out
as well. Which is that. What's it called?
The Lean Startup. It's a great book. And it's built off the concept of lean manufacturing. So it's all about like how can you build things as quickly as possible with the least amount of investment to validate your ideas, and you just kind of, you want to get more feedback from your customers, and it's a very iterative process instead of just going all in your idea and not getting any customer feedback along the way. The next question you want to ask yourself, like, is this even investable? Some businesses don't make sense for investment. Investors, like, they're going to want an exit strategy. How are you going to pay them back, right?
So one of the things is like, we are a APU, right? And everybody here wants to do social good. You probably want to make a little money, you want to live your life, and you want to somehow integrate social giving. And Matt Holgen does it ridiculously well, right? He has mastered that. But the main point is that his business supports itself, right? So the idea that you're just going to be able to start a business and that it's going to be social good and that's going to be it, that's just not good, right? So you better have something that people are going to pay for and people are going to invest in. Because at the end of the day, to get started, and to be able to scale, you want the investment, and you want somebody, a mentor, an investor, to get behind you and push it forward with you.
Not saying that you can't like raise money from friends and family to get started, but typically what you see like in the angel community, VC community, they're looking for companies that are going to give them a high return, have an exit strategy. Is it something that you get acquired? That's what a lot of people are looking for. Like in our case, like that's like we have an exit strategy. Like there's multiple $billion web development companies, like Wix, Squarespace that purchase us, GoDaddy, etc.
So, and there's a guy that pitched when I was doing Zuventurez, and his name's Garrett. And his company, I don't know if any of you heard of it, it's called Direct Consulting. Garrett. So Garrett didn't really say, hey, I want to scale it, I want to be a $1 billion company in 2 years. Garrett he actually had customers, and he was one of the winners of Zuventurez. And so he went up, and the reason I bring that up is because we talk a lot about Instagram, we talk a lot about Facebook, but if you guys have a product that you can sell, maybe you don't need $1 million to get started. Maybe you're like Garrett that starts an actual business right from the get-go that doesn't need a lot of cash overhead.
Yeah.
Right? So don't think you need to have this like grand $1 billion idea. If you're making money and you can support a business, then that's why we're here, right? You're all here because you want experience building businesses, so when you get out of here, you have a job or you have a business of your own. Garrett's done a really good job of that.
Yeah, and keep in mind, when you're raising investment, you're giving away control of your company, giving away value of your company. So it's just, investment makes sense a lot of times, but just, keep that in the back of your mind. So one of the mottos we kind of want to bring is like test before you invest, so you don't light money on fire, and you want to fail quickly. Kind of like what Jay was saying earlier. There's nothing wrong with failure. I failed so much. Like we've had a lot of ideas. Our entire goal is to fail as quickly as possible. We want data. We want learning, and it allows you to make smarter decisions.
Yeah, so we can just kind of walk through these things again. Will your investors earn a nice return on their money? So if you're not like Garrett and you don't need a ton of investment, when you go up there to pitch your business idea, part of validating is saying, hey, investors, if you're going to give me the $15,000 to win this competition, like, what's the return on that, right? So part of validating the idea flows into how much is an investor going to earn back on their money. And that's what you really need to think about. And I think we're just going to go from there.
So these are all, basically these are like all the end goals of each of our points. Like, what are you trying to do in each of these steps, right? First, find out if there's market opportunity, right? Like, can I even build a business? And then, is this a good idea? Like, is this something that could be profitable? Is there demand for this? And then you need to be able to prove that you can find customers, right? And then, and finally, prove that you can find customers and then prove that people are actually going to pay for your product. In his case, he found that, I could find customers, but they weren't really ready to pay for it. So.
Yeah, well, in my case, I found a fallacy. The idea was great. There was also room for enlistment and beat it. Right? Price point wise, it just really couldn't work long term. But I iterated to a point where I said, hey, do I want to invest $150,000 of someone's money, or do I want to say, nope, I'm going to pull back and not do that because I think that I've gotten to a point where I validated the idea. It's not a good idea, right? And so hopefully you don't spend that much money, but and some of the ways that you can are what we highlighted, right? That landing page is dynamite. If you all know somebody that knows how to set up a website and you can do it like an idea and push it out to all your friends and see if they'll hit that buy button, I mean, that's huge. Surveys, get those surveys out there.
One of my favorite things about speaking is doing a big Q&A. Do we have any time for that? 2 minutes? Okay. Anyone got questions? Yeah.
Yeah, you mentioned investors like owning a part of your business. How long will they own part of it? Like say like if somebody if you pitch like 15,000 and you double it and give them 30,000 back.
It all comes down to the terms and conditions. Also depends on how you structure your company, C Corp, S Corp, LLC. Like in the sense of like a C Corp, which is like how publicly traded companies are structured, like it's stock, and they own that and they sell back, right? So it really depends on the terms and conditions.
And also, one thing that you be very careful of is don't get too hung up in this idea of like ownership and how much an investor is going to take. Like when you get money invested, just ask Janice Orlando over there. She knows more about business than most people that I know. But what I got hung up on is like, how much is that person who's going to help me take my business? Well, my business is worth $0. And so I got so hung up on, like, they're going to get 50% of my company. Or, talk about that when you start making money. And go to somebody like Jay or Janice or anybody that has a lot of business experience, and they will help you walk through that. Any other questions? I think we've got probably about a minute left.
For your software, how do you find things for software?
Okay, that's a really good question.
That is a tough one. Yeah.
No, I mean, it's fairly easy. Like now, so I actually built a few apps like in college, and like, how do you find developers? That's everyone's biggest question, right? I would highly recommend Upwork. If you guys, this will actually be really valuable for you guys. So Upwork is an online community of freelancers. I've hired a lot of people to do stuff. I've hired people in the Philippines, I've hired people in India, like pretty much all over the world I've hired. And any skill that you need, you can find it. And there's just a huge, huge marketplace of people to choose from and work with. So like if I put out a job, say it was build a website for me, because I don't know web development or something like that. You'll probably have 30 to 50 people apply for that job, and you can interview them and find out who's the best fit for you.
And how do you, so for your idea, how do you find someone without instilling your idea? Like say you need Brian for whatever, how do you get him to work through that?
I don't think you have to, everyone, again, you're tied up in like someone's doing your idea, but all the work you're about to do over these 10 weeks, that person would have to do that.
Yeah.
What if, like, for software, like if you ask someone that, how do you build this, and they have the tools, so if you tell them your idea, they can just do it.
Yeah, but generally they're not going to. Like, we get that all the time because, people are like, I want to build this app, can you sign an NDA? And, like, we pretty much never sign NDAs because, like, a lot of times they're really not enforceable. Like, generally developers, they're not going on there just to steal ideas. Like, they want to build apps or build stuff for you. Like that's kind of what they want to do. They're not there to steal ideas. So I think we're out of time, but yeah.
Since he's going to pass the ice.
For each of you, what's one thing, now looking backward, you do differently?
My thing would hands down be that I would be more open to feedback from people. I think that if I would have learned to iterate quicker from the beginning, I would have been, be more open. And I think Ian and I are best friends. As I've watched,
And he also works with us now, so
yeah,
he leads one of our sales departments.
So as I've watched Ian, he's been surrounded by his father and a few other very strategic people, and that have not allowed him. And he's also a number-one person to just iterate quickly and see the bigger picture. And I had some help along the way, but I was a bit stubborn. And I think that some of you might experience that as you have your idea. Don't be stubborn. Don't be afraid to fail. Iterate quickly, and that's what I would have done differently.
Yeah. So in my case, I think looking back, I don't think I had any major failures that set me back so bad that I wish I could have redone it differently. I think what I would have done differently is I think hiring is one of the most difficult things, and we have over 30 people that work for us. There's definitely some different hires I would have made along the line. I think probably total people that have ever worked for me, probably 60 people if I had to ballpark it. So I think one of the most valuable things as an entrepreneur is choosing people that you want to work with. Luckily within our executive team, we've been really well balanced and a very diverse background. I think that's been one of the number one keys to our successes. But just employees that we've hired, I probably would have wanted to hire a bit differently earlier on. But I think as we're scaling now, that's starting to become a bit more prevalent.
I think that's it. I just want to say thank you to
Thanks for having us.
Janice, Annie, the three of you and Nate. I've been alongside Janice and Annie from the beginning, and I just think it's amazing. So congratulations on being here. I'm in the work now, and I promise you in a year or 2 or 3 you can graduate. This will be a story that you're going to tell to the people that you're either going to be getting invested from, or that you'll be working for. So keep it up.
Awesome. So really good points there. Hope you guys enjoyed that. A couple things I wanted to pick up on that they said that were really important. When you validate your ideas, you need to validate them with customers, right? So in order to validate your ideas with customers, talk to people. One of the biggest principles you can do is to actually get out of your office. I know you guys don't have offices yet, but get out of your rooms, get out of your dorm room, go talk to other people. That's how you validate your ideas, right? Excellent stuff. Next up, we're going to have Nate Liu. So many of you know Nate. He's back to give us a presentation of design thinking.
All right. Let's do it. Is that clear? Okay, cool. That's just like mine, so I don't think it's confusing. How you guys doing? Still awake? Liars. Sorry. Yeah, hey guys, really, gosh, it's on and out. This one? Trip over. Yeah, really excited to be back here. A year ago, I was actually working with Zuventurez as the director back then, and it was amazing just to see how many people were in the room, also just like you guys, fresh face, what the heck is going on, don't know what's going to happen, and amazingly 9 weeks later, we were just blown away by the stories that came out of this room. So whether you know it or not, right now, there are going to be amazing stories that are going to come out of this room. And so look to your left, look to your right, because these guys are going to be up front and maybe $15,000 richer. And it's going to happen. So I just want to encourage you guys, stay for the ride. It's a fantastic journey. So yeah, tonight I'm going to talk about design thinking. Actually, before I get into that, a little bit about myself. Phones aren't loading, but that's okay. I'm a designer, so I'm going to be picky about the visuals. So I've been doing startups for a long, long time. I started my own agency called Ideation. We did a lot of branding, a lot of marketing as well. From there, I moved on to a financial tech startup called Whippet. I was the creative director there for 3 years. That was a mobile payments wallet, which was fantastic. It actually was about reinforcing prepaid payments on a mobile platform, something that hadn't been done in the same way before. That was a fantastic journey. We ended up partnering with Sprint and Boost Mobile and doing some really interesting things with financial services as well. From there, I created my own startup called Capsule, which is a memory tech startup. I won't go into too much details on it, other than to say it was an awesome ride, and it failed horribly. You guys are going to hear the word fail a lot. Don't be scared by that. Be encouraged by that. How many people in this room have failed before at anything? Just raise your hand. Come on, guys. Okay. If you didn't raise your hand, you're lying. We all fail, right? That's the beauty of a relationship with Jesus Christ, is that there's grace for that. So I just want to reinforce, guys, be ready to fail. Look forward to failing. But make sure that you fail forward. Failing forward means that you're learning from how you failed. And just know that you are going to fail. And sometimes you're going to fail big, sometimes you're going to fail small. But you are going to fail. If you're scared of that, if you're worried about that, if you're not willing to risk what that's going to be like, then you're not going to get the totality of your experience. You're not going to really see your passion come to life. I guarantee you that. I promise you that. Because you're not putting everything in. And being an entrepreneur requires that you are all in. Whatever it is, whatever your guys' passion is, you need to be all in about that. There, I moved on to Spire, which I'm doing today, which is a creative nonprofit. I know a dangerous word, nonprofit, but that's my heart. I went to Art Center. I have a heart for creative believers and seeing that we get good at what we do so that we can be the light in the world. I'll simply say that I've actually been teaching here at APU for about 4.5 years. The first 2 to 2.5 of those were for free. So I actually did that completely on a volunteer basis because I believe in the people in this room. I believe in all of you guys. You guys have the power to change the world. You have to believe in yourself because the people who are here to coach you believe in you. So they need you to believe in yourself. I moved on to consulting with Glue, which is a social startup out of Colorado, a really fantastic platform. They're still trying to get off the ground. They're in beta testing. I think they've been about 4 or 5 years. Really fantastic stuff going on in the Boulder startup community there. And then now I'm currently at Axis, ticketing a tech startup. You've probably seen it before. If you buy tickets to a concert in LA, you might see Axis there. They're partly owned by AEG now, and also the guys who do Cirque du Soleil. So basically, I've just done a lot of startups. And man, I don't know what's wrong with me. I think I'm either addicted to it or something. It's dangerous. I love my wife and she's along for the ride for all this fun up and down stuff. But it's amazing. I mean, you get to see some people operating at their highest passions in that space. And you guys are actually that kind of person. The reason we're here in this room is because you have that kind of inherent passion inside of you. You're just looking to see what that's going to look like. You're looking to tap into what the outcome of that can look like. So tonight, I'm going to give you guys a couple of tools, very straightforward on how to get to that place, because I'm sure all of you guys have some really interesting ideas, but the biggest challenge with these ideas is how do we get our ideas to actually become a product, how we test it. Some of what Ian and Robert were talking about tonight is like, you're like, well, these are really cool things. They're throwing out some really big names, they're throwing out some really big numbers, and you guys are just sitting here like, yeah, I don't know how I'm going to get there. Like, it's a far cry from getting from A to B and beyond that. So I'm going to give you guys some helpful tools that have helped me as I've been navigating my way through all the different startups that I've been a part of. 3 tips. All right, so design thinking. You need to use design thinking. Now, for those of you, raise your hand if you're a designer in this room. Okay, cool, awesome. Love you guys already. Talk to me afterwards. Just would love to connect with you in general. Design thinking is actually not design. And you're like, wait, that's wrong. Design thinking is actually a process. Specifically, it's a formal method for practical, creative resolution of problems or issues. Okay, with the intent of an improved future event. It's a process. Now, if you guys are right now taking notes, stop taking notes. I'd rather you guys listen to what I have to say and focus on this stuff because we're actually going to get this stuff to you guys anyway. I assume you or Jay are going to get these slides to them. Yeah, you guys, there's stuff in here that you guys can keep using, and we'll get to that a little bit later on. But I'd rather you guys really just swallow it or just digest it, what's happening here. There's some information that's pretty useful. So, it's a 5-step process. Now, design thinking is actually, it's a really big tool in the D school, the design school from Stanford, and it's utilized quite often in Silicon Valley. So I'm not just saying, hey guys, let's utilize design thinking. No, this is something that's actually been proven through a lot of startups, okay? So, number 1, empathize. Develop a deep understanding of the challenge. Learn and research who and what you're designing for. Okay, so this is, as Ian and Robert were talking about, is understanding the problem. So, guys, I'm just going to present a problem to you guys tonight, and let's go about seeing if we can solve it. I want to get to and from class faster. Does anybody recognize this picture up here? Does anybody like those steps? No, why is that? Somebody. Hey.
They're just inconvenient and awkward to step on.
Yeah, they suck. Okay? The first time I saw APU, I was like, oh, I can't wait to get to class and teach these students. I'm going to bounce up the stairs. I can't do that. Wait a sec. What should I do? Okay, I want to. No, I want to. Okay, if I go to diagonal, wait. Maybe that one's better, right? I don't know. Okay, problem, right? It's a problem. Very clearly, that is our problem. Okay, define. Next step. Create a point of view that is based on user needs and insight. Understand the core problem and determine a goal. All right. The average height of an APU student is not Goliath. All right? I'm not 8 foot high. I don't see many 8 foot high APU students. I see maybe 5'6", 5'8". Maybe a couple of you guys are 6 feet, but last time I checked, we don't have LeBron James at APU, and he's not even 8 feet. All right, so understanding our user. You guys are the users, and you all say, man, those stairs suck. Okay? I brainstorm potential solutions. Select and develop your solution. So what are some ideas that we can think about that might help those horrible stairs? Just yell out loud. I don't care. Come on. Wake up, guys. Do it. Escalator. Very lazy. Awesome. Elevator. So make the elevator even lazier. Come on. What else? What's that? Ramp. Yeah. Like a ramp. What else? More steps. Different kinds of steps. Right? Okay. So, boom. We got moving floor. Ramp. Stair ramp combo. Okay, yeah. This is fantastic, guys. So all of a sudden we're like, okay, let's just throw some stuff at the wall, see if it sticks. What are different things that we can do about this? So again, I want to reiterate that we started to identify what the problem is, identified the user, and now we're trying to brainstorm some different ideas. This is a process that can be employed with all of you guys' ideas and all of you guys' products. Okay? Prototype. Design a prototype, a series of prototypes to test all or parts of your solution. Right, pretty straightforward. Let's make a ramp. Yeah, so if you guys go back to West Campus tonight, there's your ramp. I'm just kidding. I'm sorry to disappoint you guys. But honestly, if everybody in this room donated $1, I think we could probably go build a ramp on West Campus. It wouldn't look very good. That's a great point. What's your name? Nathan. Hey, I'm Nate. Nice to meet you. Are you serious? Nathan Lewis, Nate Lou. Woo! Meant to be. So, he brought up really good. He's like, yeah, but that's going to be the world's crappiest ramp. Yeah, it might look horrible. Absolutely horrible. And you guys are like, wait a second, this guy who's a designer, a visual artist, is saying, yeah, design something that's poorly, or looks horrible. Yes. Okay? What was the word that Ian and Robert used at the end of the last presentation? Was that word started with an M? MVP. Alright? Alright? I don't care how it looks. I care if it actually works. I care if it actually gets me part of the way there. Then I can begin to test other things. Maybe I can optimize certain parts of it. But the first thing I need to do is, will people use a ramp? Right? Test. Engage in continuous short cycle sprints that allow for iterative improvement. Get feedback. This ramp is too steep. This ramp is too low. I'd rather have a ramp stair combination. Let's get that moving floor thing happening. Okay? Asking questions, getting feedback. Okay? Sucks? Yay. Alright, it's that simple. This isn't complicated, guys. This isn't rocket science, believe it or not. A lot of you guys have some wonderful ideas that we haven't heard yet, but that we'll be hearing about in the coming weeks. Most of them are not going to be rocket science. Most of them are going to be very simple solutions to something that we're like, wow, how come I never thought of that? Jay was talking about a couple of solutions earlier, like, wow, I wish I thought of that. In fact, oftentimes you guys will find yourself thinking that very thing, wish I had thought of that. And hopefully what you guys have in your heads right now is something that other people will be like, wow, wish I had thought of that. Okay? So, step one again. Alright? Utilize design thinking. These are the steps. Empathize, define, ideate, prototype, and test. Alright? It's universal. The steps don't have to be linear. They can occur simultaneously and be repeated as necessary. Okay, so going back to this, you can actually go back and forth in between those things. Right? Testing can occur. Prototyping, you can move actually back to ideating if you're like, wow, Ramp really doesn't work. I've tried it several times, right? Maybe it does, maybe it doesn't, but you can go backwards and forwards, guys. Alright? But these are the steps that you want to kind of interchange in that process. Okay? Alright, next, try creative intelligence. You're like, well, what is creative intelligence? It's the latest drug to come out. No, I'm just kidding. Don't take drugs. Creative intelligence is an ability to frame problems in new ways and to make original solutions. So it's more of a mindset. So part of what I'm hoping you guys get from tonight is something that you can use in a very functional way. A process. Something that you can frame your product around. Next, I want you guys to actually take yourself out of your normal way of thinking and try a different way of looking at things. Okay? So this is actually the different mentalities behind, creative intelligence. Okay? So there are actually different facets of it. So if we're talking about one being a process, this is the mentality that you would approach that process with. So we'll start with mining, okay? Mining is recognizing the important dots and connecting them in different ways. For example, we have the point. Does anybody know what the point is? Anybody want to take a guess at what the point was? Founded in 2007. All right? No? Okay. It was somebody who realized, hey, retail crowdsourced discounts. They connected those dots. It became Groupon. So the first part, again, of creative intelligence is connecting dots and seeing how they align. So somebody made a connection and said, you know what? People like to save money. Lots of people like to save money. Companies, businesses, want to make that money and they want to get more customers. What can we do to connect those dots? Groupon. Okay? Framing. Affect the narrative by changing how we see it. Example is Uber cab. This one's a little bit easier. What is Uber cab? Oh, come on, that was weak. What is Uber cab? Alright, yes, Uber. Personal cars instead of cars owned by larger corporations. Part-time workers. Real-time tracking. Audience isn't just the end user, it's the middleman. Okay, so they start taking a look at the same problem, but they looked at it in a different manner. So, as you guys are thinking about your ideas or your products, you might want to start thinking about them differently. Playing. Take risks. Throw caution to the wind. Approaching goals by gaming. Audio. This one's a little easier, but anybody want to take this? Audio? Twitter. Right? So literally, they were a company that was going bankrupt from a previous idea, and they said, we have 2 weeks to come up with a new idea. They were originally a podcast aggregating board. Not very compelling. So I gave the employees 2 weeks, and they came up with Twitter. Simplified messaging. Yeah. Build things fast. Keep on building. X.com. Anybody? Elon Musk? Anybody? SpaceX. No. Try again. PayPal. Who said that? Awesome. Yes. PayPal. Alright? PayPal. And that was technology moving. That was adjusting as technology improved. Alright? That's just making. Alright? Keep making things. Alright? Keep making that ramp. Oh, sorry. Gave that one away. Darn. Woo! Good job! Give that man a 5. Alright. Work through ideas until something sticks. Tote. Okay, so you all know it's Pinterest now, so I'll just put that there. Okay? It was originally a mobile shopping payments platform. But it was really competitive space. And they acknowledged, we're not going to grow anymore in this space. But no, we're getting a lot of positive feedback when it comes to people showing their collections on our mobile payment site, on our shopping site, where we just focused on a social sharing platform about people's collections, Pinterest. Okay? So again, mine your ideas, guys. Frame them. Play with them. Make them. Pivot. Don't be afraid to pivot. You've got to pivot. Everybody pivots. Okay? I mean, we just talked about 5 companies that you did not know the names of any of them, for the most part. Okay? It's a really big thing. So that tells you that whatever you guys think is a great idea in this room right now will probably be different by the time you're done with this series. And that's okay. Don't be afraid of that. That's what you have to risk. Don't be afraid. All right. Third tool. Tell a compelling story. This is really important, okay? So whether you're a designer, whether you're a business major, marketing major, you need to tell a compelling story, okay? You must make your audience feel for the user and see the opportunity. If you don't feel for the needs of the user, you don't really care, all right? You guys instantly cared about the fact that those stairs suck, all right? It's a compelling story. I can tell that 100 different ways, but at the end of the day, those stairs really do suck. And we all have to go through that. What can be done? All right, you need to start with something that is compelling. Great stories, guys. Great stories have several components. They need to have context. I am a student. I'm always late for class because it takes me 3 extra minutes to walk up those darn stairs. They have structure. All right, there needs to be a beginning, a middle, and an end. Reiterate what you're trying to focus on. Okay, this is really important, especially when we looked at people's pitch decks and their actual pitches last year. The most coherent stories made it through to the end. Plain and simple, guys. If you cannot tell the story of your product or your idea, it won't work. It doesn't matter if it's the best since sliced bread. I need to understand what I'm actually hearing. I need to understand what you're telling me. You need to practice. Absolutely practice, right? Something that I see a lot of students stumble on in general is when they get in front of a crowd and they start to they start to go back to their script. You guys need to get rid of your scripts, okay? When you practice, you need to memorize. You need to know what you're talking about. That comes across as you're passionate about it. It doesn't come across like, oh, I used the wrong word, let me rewind, okay? So you guys need to practice your pitches. You need to practice telling your story. 10-second elevator pitch. Anybody was in an elevator today? No, elevators at APU. Maybe we'll fix that with the stairs. Who knows? But I will say, practice your 10-second elevator pitch. Okay? You guys are going to have ample time to do this in the coming weeks. You want to practice in front of other people. You want to practice in front of your friends. Does this sound good? Robert and Ian talked about that a little bit. Have inspiring protagonists. Okay? This is actually really important. If you come up here, let's say a guy comes up here, he drives up to APU in a Porsche, okay, or a Maserati or whatever expensive car is out there. Comes out, he's wearing a blazer. Well, I'm wearing a blazer, sorry. He's wearing a blazer, but you can see his chest here, slick back here and everything like that, and he comes up and he says, hey man, let me tell you about doing social good. And then he goes on to tell you about, hey, we can do social good. Well, hold on, and then he answers his cell phone, And hold on, I gotta get this, or something like that. Okay, you guys are all characters. You guys are all people. Let us know who you are. We want to care about you. We want to care about your product. If you come off as fake, we're not going to care. If you come off as, well, this is just an idea and I'm doing it for the sake of the idea, we're not going to care as much. You need to let us know who you are and what you're passionate about through what you're sharing, okay, through your story. Hey, I have this problem. Have you guys ever had that problem? I had the same problem. That's why I went to go solve it. That structure alone is what compels investors to look at companies and say, hey, there's something there. This guy's going to take it through to the end. I expected, okay? Always have a surprise. Always have something that's like, wow, that's a different way of looking at that. That's fantastic. What can be done in that arena? So if your idea, again, to even Robert's point, if it's been done before on Google, then it's not unexpected. But if it's something that's been done, but you're doing it in a different way, there's some value behind that. So I just want to encourage you guys, think about what you're planning, think about your product, think about your idea, and think about what's a little bit unexpected about that. I want to show you guys real quick just a 2-minute video of something that I think sums up a great story real quick. Is it LinkedIn or? Okay, sorry, we're going to pause and audio on? It's audio on. Well, we're not watching the ad, of course.
Get the information you need with Kayak and travel problem solved.
You guys hear it?
I think it's I don't like to do it from 9 a.m. to 2 o'clock. That's okay, I have a business. I don't
Alright guys, we have a ghost ad somewhere. Hold on. What the heck is going on? Is it Spotify? Oh. Alright, well. Fail forward. Alright. Yeah, sorry. Okay. Just go to history. There you go. You got it. Great big stuff. First one. There we go. All right. Okay. All right. Hold on, everyone. Okay. Can everyone see? Everyone see?
I think it's fun making passwords. I mean, I don't like to do it from 9 a.m. to 10 o'clock at night, but that's what comes with having a business. You need to do the orders. You don't just get money for doing nothing.
Welcome to Keep Up with the Modi/Edwin.
My name is Mira Modi, and I love password making, as you know.
One big happy family.
I make passwords that are very secure, and I have a website where I sell them for $2 each, and I send them by postal mail. I roll dice to make strings of numbers, use the string of numbers to get corresponding words in the dice word dictionary. I roll dice 5 times for each word. Oh, you do that 6 times for one password. So roll dice 30 times, and it produces random words that have a lot of entropy, which means it's not easy for the computer to hack. Kind of like turned into a thing I would do, like if my mom's friend would like come over and be like, hey, can you make me a couple passwords? And I'd do it. And then I was like, oh, let's make it into a website. And here I am, and the website is kicking off, and I'm really excited about that. Some people like say being popular in school is like the best thing ever. I think like this is so much better. People actually like learn from this, and that's good.
Alright, so hopefully you guys get the gist of that video. What's really cool is she's an 11-year-old entrepreneur. And if she can do it, darn if you guys can. Plain and simple. Right? And what's funny too, by the way, so she says it's $2 for a password. If you go to her website right now, they're $8. So she basically, she's leveraged the media. She's like, now I'm going to up the price. It's really smart, guys. So, alright guys, that's it.
So I hope you guys enjoyed that portion of our program tonight. Fantastic presentations all around. I love that way of thinking. As Nate talked about, it's that thinking that's based on your customers, right? It's empathizing with them and then ideating to help solve their problems, not just your problems. Which is fantastic. And always, I mean, the best takeaway there is, don't do drugs. Don't do that. That's a good takeaway. All right, so I want to talk to you guys about tasks. Last week we talked about what runs startups. It's getting things done, and it's having good relationships, right? And this is one of those things. What are we going to have you do this week? Well, we need to have you guys do this task, okay? So the first part of this task is to join the Zuventurez Pitch 2016 Facebook group. It's really important. You guys haven't done it yet? Some of you probably have already. It shouldn't be private. You can find it. It just popped up. Bonus points. Then what you're going to do. So here's what you're going to do. You are going to post a message or share a video if you want in that group. Okay? We have to accept you into the group. I want to make sure everybody signed their NDAs. We're going to accept you into the group. And then you're going to tell us one of two things. You're going to tell us, one, what your problem solution idea is and what roles your team needs. So that's if you're a person who has an idea already, you have a problem that you want to solve and you want to start working on it, that's what you're going to do. Okay? Person number two is somebody who wants to join a team. So you don't have an idea. Totally fine. You don't have to have an idea. You can still contribute to a team. You can still help go through that process that Nate is talking about using design thinking. What you're going to do is you're going to say, I'm looking to join a team, and here's what my skill set is. Super easy, right? Now, we're going to reward you for doing this. Okay? The reward, one, is going to be you get priority on two things. The first priority you get is that next week we're going to have a portion of our program wherein people with ideas who are looking for teams will stand up and just tell us what their idea is. Tell us what the problem is that they're trying to solve, and tell us what their idea is. First person to go up here and put their idea on the Facebook page gets to be the first person that stands up to do that next week. Okay? This is the even more important priority. We're going to rank order the people who put ideas on the Facebook page. We'll get priority when we choose coaches. Coaches are essential to you. They're essential to your team's development and your chances of winning the $15,000. So, if you want a great coach and you want to be prioritized, make sure you get on that Facebook group and make sure you post those ideas. Everybody in here needs to post on there. And what I'm hoping is, for those of you who haven't found a team yet and you're looking for a team, and you have an idea, use the Facebook group to find people that would be great to partner with. If you don't have an idea but want to join a team, make sure you go on there. Find an idea that you're passionate about. Say, I want to join this team because I want to be a part of this. Use the Facebook group. It's this simple. It's this simple. It doesn't need to be some long, drawn-out thing. It's very, very easy. Okay? Everybody pretty clear on what that looks like? Pretty clear? Any questions on that? Good. Excellent. Next week, we are going to have a portion of the program wherein those who have ideas, you just stand up where you're sitting and you'll tell us what that idea is. And that's the reason why we're doing that is because we're still in the team formation mode, right? So you're doing two primary things right now, and this is what you should be focused on right now is trying to think about those ideas, letting those ideas sit, inviting people into your team to help you propel those ideas forward. So we're trying to give you space to do that, and part of that space is talking about how to come up with problems and come up with solutions, and then also talking about how to form teams, which is our last exercise for the day. But before we do that, I want you guys just to take a quick breath. And so what we're going to do is I'm going to give you guys a few minutes. This is our Instagram handle. You guys know that if you want to win the iPad, next week is the iPad giveaway, right? Next week is the big iPad giveaway. If you want to win that, you got to be following us on Instagram. This is our Instagram handle. Make sure you go on there. Make sure you follow us. But I want to give you time to fill out your NDAs and to sign your terms and conditions. So go ahead and do that right now. I'll give you some space to do that. We have pencils up here too. Anybody need a pencil, just raise your hand. And this is not the end of the program. So if anybody leaves, you're going to miss key components of what we're going to do tonight.
Already, is this one team member needs to post? Or is each team member post?
Just one. Just tag your other. So great question. I'm gonna answer this question here. If you already have a team, does everybody in that team need to post, or can one person in the team post? One person in the team can post. Okay? Just tag your other teammates so that we know who they are. Say it again. Yeah, you still gotta post. Yeah. Yes. Minimum is 1.
Oh, Lifeline is
Yeah.
Sure. They would be better.
Okay, we're going to go ahead and move on. We're going to keep moving with the program. Question?
You don't have to go by yourself if you want to. I don't recommend it because it gets really difficult. There's so much work to do.
So somebody asked the question, do you have to have a team? Can you go through it by yourself? You can go through it by yourself. Still got to post your idea on Facebook. You can go through it by yourself, but I do not recommend it. And I do not recommend it because the amount of talent you have to have across multiple different types of skill sets, different business acumen, design acumen, programming acumen if you have an app idea, financial acumen, it gets very, very difficult, so I do not recommend trying to do this alone. You can do it alone, but I do not recommend it. Okay, I'm going to go ahead and do the giveaway. We're going to go ahead and do the giveaway. Today we're giving away the Field Guide to Human-Centered Design. So it's going to help you, this book is going to help you do what Nate talked to us about. And I just have to choose one of the tickets. Okay, I'm going to read the number first, and then I'm going to read the name. Cool? The number is 675860. The name is Jocelyn Gentry. She's not here. And she doesn't win. Nate already wrote the book. He's good to go. Here, let's pick another one. Got to be present to win, always. For the iPad as well. All right. The ticket number is 6758703. The name is Andy Wood. There he is. Yeah. Okay. Now we're going to help you form your teams, okay? And I know that we're going over time here, but team formation is really, 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 really important. And there are very detailed. We're going to try something completely new. Who's up for trying something totally new tonight? Okay? You all should be up for trying something totally new. I'll pretend you all raise your hands. So here's what we're going to do. We are going to try speed interviewing. It's the first time Zuventurez has ever done speed interviewing. This is a chance for all of you to get to know one another. Okay? This is how it's going to work. We're going to have spots on the ground outside in the atrium. Pieces of tape. Pieces of blue tape. Okay? So all of these would be blue tape. Just imagine these are blue tape. We're going to have a person stand on either side of the blue tape. Okay? Just like those circles are standing on the other side of that X. There's going to be people on one side of the blue tape, people on the other side of the blue tape. We're going to give you 15 seconds to say whether or not you have an idea and what your skill set is. Okay? If you have an idea, you can tell a little bit about it. But just one sentence. Don't go into a paragraph about how great your idea is and how it's going to be Instagram, and how it's better than everything. No, just really quick. This is what I'm doing. And this is what my skill set is. Okay? After 30 seconds is up, we're just going to have the inside group only, people on the inside of the blue tape, take a step over to the next person. You're going to meet the next person. And the goal here, is the reason why we gave you name tags, is for you to be able to network with a bunch of different people, okay? So that you can understand who's in the room, who do you need for your startup, and exactly how you're going to build your team, okay? So it's just meant to be an introduction, right? Just a real quick introduction, and you can go back and say, oh, I really like that person's idea, I want to go talk to them later. That's what this is for, okay? So we're going to try it. Totally new idea. Zuventurez has never done this before, but we are going to try it. So before I release you, yes? Oh, no, you can stay on either side whether or not you have an idea. Yeah, don't worry about that. Before we go, everybody pretty clear on this? Pretty clear on how this will work? Everybody good? Okay. So now here's what I want you guys to tell me. What is your task that's due next week? Facebook post. You guys are awesome. Nice. Now do that by Monday at 11:59 p.m. Okay? Do that by Monday, 11:59 p.m. And like I said, the best teams are going to do two things. If you want to win this 15K, you're going to do two things. You're going to get on that Facebook page as quickly as possible, and you're going to submit your idea as quickly as you can, as soon as we accept you into the group, because you want a good coach. The best teams are also going to do something else. You're going to go into that folder that we sent you on the email, make sure you're getting email from us, and you're going to look at that judging criteria, and you're going to say, okay, what are they judging me on? And you're going to start building your pitch deck. You can start building your pitch deck right now. You don't have to wait. You can start building your pitch deck right now. The best teams will do that. I'm looking at Drew. Drew's like, yeah, I'm building mine already. I already got a deck. He competed already last year too. Okay? Everybody clear on that? So what we're going to do, you're going to hand your paperwork that you filled out now to somebody in a red shirt as we head outside, and we're going to do the networking. We're going to do the quick networking, and then we're going to release you after that. So meet outside, and we're going to have you stand in front of the blue tape.